Derek Udo had everything money could buy. A stunning penthouse overlooking the glittering lights of Lagos, luxury cars most men could only dream of owning, and a business empire that stretched proudly across West Africa. But tonight, as he watched the city lights flicker slowly to life below him, he felt that familiar emptiness settling deep in his chest once again. 32 years old, and the richest man in any room he ever entered. Yet the one thing his billions couldn't purchase was the very thing he wanted most, desperately. Someone who loved him truly for himself, not his fortune. Another dinner. Another woman who saw only dollar signs when she looked at him. Kioma had been charming, beautiful, everything a man could want, until he accidentally saw her messages. His net worth is over 50 billion naira, she'd written to her friend. I'll have that ring within 6 months. Derek had ended it that night, adding her name to a list that grew longer every year. Each relationship the same story. Attraction to his wallet, never to his heart. What if he could strip away the wealth, the status, the name everyone recognized? What if he became invisible? The idea had come to him like a whisper. Work as a security guard at one of his own shopping malls. No one would know. No one would care about his bank account. And maybe, just maybe, he would find someone who saw the man beneath the money. It was crazy. It was desperate. It was exactly what Derek needed to do. His first morning at Udo shopping mall, which he owned but no one knew, Derek discovered a truth that stung. Without his Italian suits and confident swagger, he was invisible. Shoppers brushed past without acknowledgement. Staff barely nodded. The security uniform made him part of the background, the kind of person successful Nigerians look through rather than at. It was humbling. It was eye-opening. And for the first time in years, Derek felt something other than empty. Are you deaf? We said, move out of my way. The man's voice dripped with utter contempt. Derek had simply asked him politely to step aside from the emergency exit, nothing more than that. But to this wealthy customer, dripping in gold chains and expensive designer clothes, a mere security guard was less than nothing, invisible. Do you know who I am? The man sneered loudly, drawing stares. Derek knew exactly who he was, a man who spent more money on watches than on kindness or basic decency. He bit his tongue hard and stepped aside. Some battles simply weren't worth fighting today. That's enough. The voice was calm but carried steel. Derek turned to find a woman in a pharmacy uniform stepping forward, her dark eyes flashing with righteous anger. He was doing his job. There's no need to speak to anyone like that. The arrogant man sputtered, but something in her quiet dignity silenced him. He stormed away, muttering. She turned to Derek with a warm smile that reached her eyes. Are you all right? In that moment, something shifted in Derek's heart. Her name was Linda Okonkwo, and she worked diligently at the mall pharmacy, helping customers every single day. Over the next few wonderful weeks, their shared lunch breaks became the absolute highlight of Derek's day. She was nothing like the women he usually met in his wealthy circles. No interest whatsoever in designer brands or social status, just genuine, heartfelt curiosity about who he truly was as a person. Tell me about your family, she'd ask with warm eyes. What makes you laugh? What do you dream about at night? Questions no one had asked him in years, and Derek found himself answering honestly for the very first time. Days turned to weeks. Their conversations grew deeper, their silences more comfortable. Linda shared stories of her father, a retired teacher she adored, and her dreams of opening her own pharmacy someday. Derek shared carefully edited versions of his own life, leaving out the billions, the board meetings, the empire. And yet, somehow, he felt more honest with her than with anyone else. Because with Linda, he was just Derek, not Derek Udo the billionaire, just a man falling in love. Who was in love? The realization hit Derek one ordinary afternoon, watching Linda help an elderly woman find her medication. The gentleness in her hands, the patience in her voice, the genuine care that had nothing to do with reward. This was the woman he'd been searching for his entire life. Someone whose kindness wasn't a strategy, whose love wouldn't be for sale. But how could he tell her the truth now? How could he explain the lie he'd been living? The devastating call came on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Linda's face drained completely of color as she listened to the trembling voice on the other end. And Derek watched helplessly as her entire world collapsed around her. Her beloved father had suffered a massive stroke at home. He was now in intensive care at the hospital, fighting desperately for his very life. In mere seconds, the woman who had been laughing joyfully with him just minutes before was running for the exit, tears streaming down her beautiful face. Derek wanted so badly to follow, to hold her close, to fix everything. But what could a simple security guard possibly do? What could he offer? Derek found her at the hospital 3 days later. She looked like she hadn't slept, her eyes hollow with worry. "They want 8 million naira for the surgery," she whispered, showing him the bills. "I don't have it. I'll never have it." Her voice broke. "He's all I have, Derek. He raised me alone after my mother died. I can't lose him too." She collapsed against his shoulder, sobbing. And Derek made a decision that would change everything between them. That night, Derek made calls he hadn't made in weeks, as Derek Udo the billionaire. Within hours, Nigeria's top neurologist was on a flight to Lagos. The hospital bill disappeared, marked paid in full by an anonymous donor. Private nurses, experimental treatments, everything money could provide. Linda couldn't understand the sudden change. The hospital now treating her father like royalty. A benefactor, they told her, someone who wishes to remain anonymous. She never suspected the truth walked beside her. It was a newspaper that ended his secret. Linda picked it up in the hospital waiting room, and there was his face. Derek Udo, CEO of Udo Holdings, photographed at a charity gala. The same face that had eaten jollof rice with her at the food court. The same man who wore a security uniform. Her hands trembled as pieces fell into place. The anonymous donor, the sudden best care, all of it. Derek watched from across the room as understanding turned to betrayal in her eyes. "You lied to me." Her voice was ice. Everything was a lie. Derek reached for her, but she stepped back. "Not everything," he pleaded. "My name, yes. My job. But never my feelings. I fell in love with you because you saw me, the real me, when I had nothing to offer but myself." Linda shook her head, tears falling. "How can I trust anything you say? How do I know this isn't another game for a bored billionaire?" 3 long days of painful silence felt like 3 endless years to Derek. Then finally, Linda came to him, finding him alone on the rooftop garden where he'd gone to think and pray. "You could have any woman in all of Lagos," she said quietly, her voice soft but steady. "But you chose to eat food court jollof rice with a simple pharmacy assistant." He took her hands gently in his, because she was the only one who ever asked what made me laugh, what made me dream. When they kissed at last, the Largo sunset painted them both in beautiful gold. The lonely billionaire and the woman who loved the man beneath, never the money,